With the unveiling of the Ferrari SF-25 before the start of the 2025 Formula One season, the Italian side introduced a very clear and intentional break from its historical approach to front-end mechanical design. The renowned and historic team from Maranello made the strategic decision to switch from a push-rod suspension configuration to a pull-rod suspension setup at the front of the car. While this is a technical choice that other teams have experimented with over the years, the most significant departure from previous Ferrari designs is not limited to the type of suspension alone. The complete spatial arrangement of the various suspension arms has been entirely rethought and redesigned. This restructuring affects the geometry of how forces are transferred from the wheels to the chassis and the way the car reacts to different aerodynamic and mechanical loads. The reasoning behind such a radical change is straightforward. Ferrari is seeking to open a new path toward innovative avenues of technical development and performance optimization, aiming to exploit all possible opportunities within the existing 2025 regulatory framework. The adoption of such a new and radically different suspension component naturally brings with it certain expected challenges related to adaptation. Modern Formula One cars, particularly this generation of so-called wing cars, are highly sensitive to numerous mechanical, aerodynamic, and structural parameters. Even small changes in suspension geometry can have significant impacts on overall vehicle dynamics, including tire behavior, balance, and aerodynamic performance. Consequently, altering the geometry of the suspension is never a simple task. It is a delicate and complex operation that requires careful calibration and extensive track testing. A clear example of this can be seen with the McLaren team, which struggled for an entire year before finding the correct balance and setup with a comparable mechanical solution. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri during that period experienced noticeable performance fluctuations as the engineers worked to refine the system. In fact, McLaren's example may have served as a cautionary tale for Ferrari's engineering department. It might have suggested that a major suspension redesign during the final year of regulatory continuity could introduce unpredictable complications, not because the design change itself was inherently flawed, far from it, but due to the complex and sometimes uncontrollable interactions between car dynamics and aerodynamics. These dynamics can be especially challenging when the objective for the year is to avoid any costly mistakes while remaining competitive at the very top of the grid in the fight for the 2025 World Championship. Ferrari's leadership, engineers, and technical director Frédéric Vasseur likely weighed these considerations carefully when implementing the change. Turning to the present moment, it is important to also consider the rear suspension, which plays an equally critical role in performance, stability, and tire management. For the Belgian Grand Prix, Ferrari introduced a targeted update to the rear suspension, repositioning several suspension links to optimize mechanical behavior. While these changes were not revolutionary in terms of geometric overhaul, they were carefully calibrated adjustments, combined with refinements to the internal damping components. These modifications represent precise fine-tuning rather than an entirely new design philosophy. Essentially, the work carried out by Ferrari at this stage is focused on correcting specific performance limitations and inefficiencies rather than fundamentally changing the car's character. The context described above helps frame Fred Vasseur's recent comments during the summer break regarding a suspension modification that has already demonstrated positive results on track. However, this update arrived later than ideally planned, which was not optimal for the French engineer, as its full performance benefits could have been realized sooner if implemented earlier in the season. These challenges, although addressed, cannot yet be considered fully resolved. Instead, the benefits have been carefully minimized and managed to extract as much performance as possible under the circumstances. It is widely understood in Formula One that the floor of these highly technical cars is critical for unlocking maximum overall performance. From the start of the 2025 championship, Ferrari struggled to dynamically control the height of the floor, which is essential to generate maximum downforce and improve aerodynamic efficiency. In order to be effective, the floor must be positioned as close as possible to the track surface while maintaining reliability and avoiding excessive wear. However, there is a physical limit imposed by the wear and structural tolerance of the floor itself. Every Formula One team faces this fundamental compromise between optimal floor height, aerodynamic efficiency, and long-term durability. Ferrari, however, has suffered more than other teams because it was unable to bring the car as close to the asphalt as desired. This limitation made it impossible to consistently operate within the correct aerodynamic and mechanical performance window. Considering that the SF-25 was originally designed with a different front suspension configuration in mind, adapting the car to the new setup must be seen as a positive achievement. This is especially notable given the accompanying weight increase resulting from the modifications. Fred Vasseur emphasized this point, underlining that this was not a planned change from the beginning of the season. It was more accurately a strategic patch implemented to maximize performance with available resources. Looking ahead, the 2025 Formula One calendar still includes 10 more championship rounds, each presenting unique challenges and opportunities for the teams. McLaren, driven by Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, is firmly on course to secure both the Drivers' and Constructors' World Championships, demonstrating remarkable consistency, reliability, and race pace. For Ferrari, the realistic goal remains to secure second place in the Constructors' Championship. Achieving this target would still be a positive outcome, though the team operating from Maranello, with drivers Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, undoubtedly aspires to more. Holding the position of runner-up in the championship standings feels limiting for a team of Ferrari's size, experience, and historical significance in Formula One. Nevertheless, within an otherwise difficult season, finishing as vice-champion represents a realistic and constructive target that can be used as a foundation for future progress. It remains to be determined whether both Ferrari SF-25 cars can genuinely challenge for race victories in the remaining rounds of the 2025 season. This will be particularly challenging considering that the McLaren MCL-39 has not revealed any clear weaknesses on track. The long summer break, however, provides Ferrari with a valuable opportunity to further optimize the rear suspension and exploit the benefits of the recent mechanical update to its fullest potential. At the Hungarian Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc demonstrated competitive pace and, without the technical issues he encountered, could have been in contention for a race victory. Lewis Hamilton also showed strong performance when the car was functioning within its optimal operating parameters. This positive note gives Ferrari something tangible on which to build during the final third of a championship that, by necessity, is likely the last in which the team struggles with an outdated regulatory formula before the significant changes coming in 2026. The team from Maranello now possesses all the essential ingredients to approach the start of the new regulatory era in the strongest possible position, with both cars capable of delivering reliable performance. However, before turning fully toward future regulations, Ferrari must focus on strengthening internal cohesion, communication, and collective confidence. These two factors, team unity and self-assurance, are critical to restoring the team to its winning ways in Formula One and maximizing the potential of both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton on track. In conclusion, the Ferrari SF-25 and its new suspension architecture mark a significant step forward in the team's technical evolution. While challenges remain, the careful adaptation of both front and rear suspension, despite an unavoidable weight increase, demonstrates Ferrari's commitment to pursuing performance gains within the constraints of the 2025 regulations. With 10 remaining races, including key European and international Grands Prix, Ferrari has the opportunity to further optimize its setup, extract more performance from its drivers, and maintain a competitive presence at the front of the grid. The work carried out during the summer break, coupled with focused development on the rear suspension and fine-tuning of internal damping, will be instrumental in ensuring the team is ready to compete at the highest level in the final stages of the championship. Ultimately, the combination of technical upgrades, driver skill, and improved team cohesion will determine how effectively Ferrari can leverage the SF-25's potential in the second half of the 2025 season. The groundwork laid by this suspension update and the careful management of car performance will be crucial in preparing Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton to challenge for victories where possible and to finish the season in a strong position ahead of the transformative 2026 regulations. These developments also send a clear message to fans and rivals alike. Ferrari is committed to continuous evolution, strategic precision, and maximizing the competitive potential of its Formula One operations, all while keeping the focus on the ultimate goal, returning to the top of the Formula One podium.